Hello, it's Ian again, and it's time to walk the path with me. A change of direction on the path. I'm going to tell you how I came to faith. Cast your minds back, if you're old enough. October the 31st, 1999. I remember that day. It was a beautiful late autumn or early winter, whatever you like to call these days, where it's blue sky and it's quite mild. My nephew and his girlfriend came to visit his nan, his granddad, and of course his Uncle Ian. And he had some scanned pictures of the baby alien, as he kept calling the baby in his girlfriend's stomach. He was all excited. He was going to be a dad. He was at college, training to be a chef. His girl was going to have a baby. And yeah, it was a perfect situation. They were a bit young, but we were supportive of them both. And he said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm off now to have a coffee dinner with my sister and her boyfriend. And it was just a normal everyday occurrence until 25 to 12. Then we got a phone call. He was dead. My sister had phoned from the hospital. He'd been rushed there suddenly and they could not do anything to save him. It was the most devastating thing that happened to me up to that point. I remember sitting on the back doorstep, wondering what was going on. Anyway, we did all we could. My sister came back from the hospital. We gave her the comfort we could give her, but in these circumstances, what can you say? I decided to go home, and I did, and I got my then pet dog, and I took the dog for a walk on the front, and this was about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock time, November the 1st. Now, I wasn't a Christian, so for me, God's up there. I didn't realise where God really is, but I just thought that heaven's up there, God's up there, and so what I did, I looked up, and I said, look, if you really are up there, help me out. I'm lost, and I'm on my own. And he answered. It was a week later. I met a young man called Edward. As it turned out, Edward was called Edward Ibbison and the minister of Far Lane and Broxton Baptist Church. For those of you who want to know where that church is, it's on the corner of Hannon Crescent and Broxton Avenue, facing the police station and near the Broxton Park. As it turned out, that was going to be the place where the funeral of my nephew was going to take place. And so I entered the church. But because we were having the funeral there, my sister was also attending on a Sunday morning, so I decided to give moral support and come along. And I was drawn in. It was intriguing, meeting people, listening to what Edward was preaching about, listening to the music. And after we had the funeral and everything, I decided to come back. And week in and week out, I sat there listening. Then one day, I sat next to a lady called Mary. And Edward was preaching on one of the I ams. And it was I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I said to Edward after, you speaking a little bit loud today. And he goes, no, normal sound level. I said, no, Edward, you were speaking very loud. I mean, so loud, everybody else was sort of like cancelled out my head except for your voice. And he goes, no, the Holy Spirit spoke through me to you. Ah, and something happened. I walked out of church, and all of a sudden the scales fell from my eyes. And Jesus was no longer just the Son of God, like if he was some sort of secondary individual. He became more important, more personal. And I felt, I want to follow this person. And it's that morning on that Sunday, and it's a beautiful sunny day again. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to follow you, Jesus. I know you're the one I've got to follow. And so, from a tragic incident, the sudden death of my nephew, who was only By the way, he was only 17 years old. Some of you are thinking, okay, what did he die of? Well, they call it sudden adult death syndrome. It's a little bit like a cot death. That makes it even worse, doesn't it? But out of all of that tragedy came this beautiful thing. And that is how I came to faith. And so, until next time, we walk this path together. I love you. God bless you. See you next time.
Walking the Path with Ian was a Friar Lane and Braunston Baptist Church production. It was written and presented by Ian Bradwell, filmed and produced by Reverend John Grant. The music was provided by Pixabay, with special thanks to Roman Ranstev.